All right, guys. That was another terrible, disappointing loss by our New York Jets. Whoop, sorry, getting some feedback here. My bad. Ugh. So, are there any positives we can actually take away from this game? It was basically a snooze fest the entire time. The entire time. Ugh. Jesus. It feels like every other team across the league has some way to at least be entertaining. The Atlanta Falcons have lost a ton of games. They're at least exciting to watch. Guys are saying no positives. At least he said it better. Flacco was refreshing for backup play compared to last year. Last year was absolutely horrible in terms of our backup quarterback play. Flacco was very much better than that, I guess. If we really want to, say that's what it was. Oh man, it was rough. I would say Crowder is the only positive thing that I've seen from this team this season. I don't know. It was nice seeing Bell, I guess, out of there. I don't even know what he had. What did Bell have in terms of stats today? I don't even know if I'm going to get updated stats right now. I don't know. Joe S. says 10 points and everyone's praising Flacco. We shouldn't be praising Flacco. I mean, we could say, we didn't stink the way we stunk last year with a backup quarterback. Perhaps that's the little saving grace in all this. I don't think so, though. Not like we had Becton to watch. Not like we had Mims to watch. Not like we had Darnold to watch. Like when you have Bell and then Crowder as your only two guys you're trying to get excited about, just disappointing. It's hard to try and come up with anything positive as to why you should waste your time watching this team play. There was a little bit of news during the game. Our next week's game has now been changed to Jets versus Miami. The Week 11 bye has moved to the Week 10 bye, and then the Week 11 game is going to be the Chargers. Let's see if I know how to do this. Let's add Mr. Matt O'Leary to the stream. How you doing, Matt?
Oh, that was tough. That was not fun.
It was just rough. Hard to try and watch any of this.
Yeah, they're just brutal, dude. The lack of effort or energy from Adam Gase's team is just insane at this point. Like, it's the same rinse, repeat. Each one of these games are the same. They're losing by 20 points every game.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. You think that there would be some kind of energy or anything. Just you want to see someone come out flying, hit someone real hard. We're not getting anything. It's just, game after game of just very methodically boring football, week in and week out.
Yeah, 100%. And we complain about the offense a ton. The defense gave up 500 yards today. That can't happen. That's insane.
Yeah, I was actually, I don't want to say I was surprised. I was a little surprised as to how well we kind of contained Kyler in the running game. I was kind of expecting him to go for like 60 or 70 yards. I didn't have a whole lot of faith in us. But then you watch what he did in the passing game. He had nearly 400. I think he had over 400 yards, all-purpose yards, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like 385 and then 35 on the ground. Do you see anything out of this team that could give you hope that maybe Gase is canned or anything?
I don't think they're going to move on from him in season. I wish they would, because to me, you're just spinning the wheels for the next 11 games if you have him here, which they seem fully content to do. I'm looking at the box score right now. Outside of Le'Veon Bell was okay, and Jamison Crowder, outside of that, is there anything positive? That's the only two positive spins I could come up with.
No, I don't think I could come up with anything. It really felt like Crowder was the only one that was overly successful. It felt like at least with Flacco at quarterback, it felt more like a lack of weapons. Like maybe that was a good thing for Sam, that even Flacco couldn't find guys being open.
Oh,
We had 2 drop touchdowns with what was it, Barrios and
Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith, yeah, and that last little bit. Now they both would have been incredible catches had they made them, but I feel like good teams find ways to make those catches, and it doesn't feel like the Jets are doing that.
No. If you're an NFL caliber receiver, you got to make those plays, especially the Jeff Smith one. I thought the Braxton Berrios throw was a little bit low, and it hit his hands. He probably could have made that catch, but to me, the Smith one was just inexcusable. That hit him right in the chest. You can't put the ball any better. And it's just, I think a lack of weapons is part of it. It definitely is part of the reason. But at the same time, like, Gase isn't really doing them any favors with the play calling. The one that sticks out to me from the first half, the 3rd and 1 play, giving the ball to a tight end, Trevon Wesco, to run up the middle. How does that make any sense?
No, it felt like it was very confusing all the way around. Like we can't even get like a 4th and 1, a 3rd and 1. Like there's just no. You would expect that. What was the average run play in the NFL? Probably 3.5, 4 yards, and the average pass play is 7 yards, and the Jets can never get 1 yard in any situation. I don't know how to look at this team in any sort of positive light aside from like, man, I can't wait for the season to be over, which is exactly how we felt last year. As soon as Sam went down with the with mono last year, it's like it feels like we're in this constant treadmill of not quite getting excited for this team.
No, there's just no way. There really isn't anything to get excited about right now. Like, any piece that you might have wanted to see in this game did not play. Denzel Mims did not play. Darnold did not play. Mekhi Becton did not play. Quinn Williams left the game with an injury, if you want to go on the defensive side of the ball. Lamar Jackson got burned twice awfully by DeAndre Hopkins. Like, there was nothing really that you could take out of this game outside of, like I said earlier, Jamison Crowder looks legit, man. He had his 3rd straight 100-yard receiving day. Like, that's one weapon. You have a ton more work to do, though, beyond that.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for Lamar Jackson because going up against Hopkins, who is arguably 1A, 1B, 1C, whatever you want to say, he's one of the top 3 receivers in this league.
Agreed.
I thought he did all right up until like the last, the second half. Unfortunately, got to play 2 halves of a game.
Right. He's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Covering arguably the best. I would say he's probably number 2. I still like Michael Thomas as the number 1 receiver, but to me, DeAndre Hopkins is right there, and you can make the case for him being the best receiver in football. So that's just not fair. But at the same time, like, could you put Pierre Desir on him? Absolutely not. He would have got burned. He was playing, for some reason, he's still playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage every single play. It drives me absolutely nuts. And there was a play in the first half where he could have had an easy interception and it just like went right off his hand.
Now, in terms of, I guess the only news that I felt was sort of different, I guess, during the the course of this game was the moving of some of the Jet games. They've shifted. Next week's game, we're now playing Miami. Our bye week goes from week 11 to week 10, and then we're playing the Chargers week 11. What do you make of that?
Maybe you have a shot to win next week. I don't know. To me, like, looking at the schedule, the Dolphins are really the only other team where it's like, okay, maybe they could have a shot against Miami. Is it the home Miami game or the away Miami game? I don't even know.
I'm imagining. Let me see.
Sorry.
Not too sure. Yeah, no, I actually don't know that one. It's the one that would have been week 10. So let's see. It is the at Miami. So we're flying to Miami to play that game. Does that, I don't know, does it give you more hope or less hope that the Jets could potentially get that number 1 overall pick?
Based off this game, I guess more hope.
It's like the only thing that I could root for all season is to get the first pick, which is such a conundrum for me because I really like Sam Darnold, and it just feels like there's nothing else to root for this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough. I really hope, like, Flacco, I thought he was okay. Like he wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He was okay.
Mhm.
I'm really hoping that Sam is back next week, just so you have at least like something to look for. And like if Sam Darnold wins a couple of random games and they don't get
Mhm.
the number one overall pick, I'm not going to be nearly as upset as I would be if Joe Flacco's winning these random games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just it. If Flacco wins games, I'd be far more upset than Sam winning, 2, 3 games and us getting the third pick. I'd rather see that than watching the backup. Basically, anyone who's not going to be on this team beyond next year. I think the Jets are going to have a really hard time trying to attract any free agents at all. If you think Juju Smith-Schuster wants to come to New York, no way. Especially if Sam's not going to be here, I don't think there's any shot that the Jets can attract like top tier free agents.
If they have the number one pick, you don't think so? And a new coach?
It would help. It would definitely help. I think it has to be an exciting head coach, someone that free agents would have faith in. Because if you're going to bring in, I don't think Bieniemy is going to come here. I think Bieniemy is going to the Texans. I think that's kind of where I see him fitting in. I don't know who the Jets could bring in that's going to excite the fan base and excite players around the league to play in this offense. If the Jets have the first pick, it does give them a little bit of an upside, I think, because people might say like, hey, you know what, I want to play with Trevor Lawrence. But man, if you could have the choice of playing with Trevor Lawrence, or you could have the choice of playing with like almost anyone else in the NFL, like if the money's close, I don't see why you would want to come to the Jets.
Yeah, it's certainly tough, and the Jets don't do themselves any favors because of just how inept they've been for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a great point. I think if they have the number one overall pick, that's a little enticing for like a potential head coaching candidate.
Sure.
But like let's say they go 3-13 and are picking like third or fourth. I don't know how enticing that is for a coach, because at that point, like this is a completely different conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
if they're not picking one overall, let's say they're picking third, do they roll with Sam then at that point, or are they going to draft Trey Lance or Justin Fields? Like,
I would hope at that point. God, I guess it depends how Sam looks in the game or two wins that we had, but it would be really tough to get a head coach. And I think at that point, the head coach would have to be bought into Sam Darnold, with the possibility of taking a quarterback. Like it wouldn't necessarily prevent me from taking a quarterback at 3. I definitely look at Lance. I think he's probably I like him a lot. I think he shows more with less talent than maybe. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks fantastic, but if I had to pick a second quarterback to look at, I think it would probably be Lance.
yeah, I personally I like Lance. I like him a little bit better than Fields. I would. It really depends on how Darnold looks the rest of the year. I would. They probably run back Darnold, and you know what? I think there probably are still coaches at this level who think they could fix Sam Darnold. Like I don't think that's a completely irrational take. I think a lot of people see the talent. Like how many guys around the NFL continue to talk up how Sam Darnold isn't the issue. Like, we see it on Twitter every single week, whether it's Dan Orlovsky or Colin Cowherd was saying it today. But even guys like who are in this league, it's tough. So I don't know. Maybe that's a positive spin zone there. I don't have much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Jets. I'm not opposed. Like, say there was a rumor prior to the game that Schefter tweeted out saying that the Jets would have a hard time getting a first round pick for Sam, which I think most Jet fans would agree on. I don't see us getting a first round pick for him. If the Jets are struggling to get, say, a second round pick, I'm not so sure I move him. I think I'd rather, not give him the 5th-year option, let him play on the 4th year of his rookie deal, and then maybe go into the season at least not forced to start your rookie quarterback. Worst case scenario.
I think if you're taking someone, you have to move on from Sam. I don't think you can have both of them there. I think that would just be completely chaotic if you decide to do that. I understand the logic of it from your end for sure. Like Sam Darnold in his 4th year isn't going to be, crazy expensive, but I think you just gotta move on from that era as like a culture building, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I guess that makes sense. If you're not going to roll with Sam as your starting quarterback, you probably just don't want him in the locker room at all. I think it sends a mixed message. It probably divides the locker room a little bit more in terms of like pro Sam guys or pro rookie guys.
Right.
You'd probably want to wash your hands. Man, is there any situation where you think the Jets do exercise his 5th-year option? Like, is there going to be a situation where the Jets just going to, if they don't take the quarterback early, do they just roll with Sam on the 4th-year, contract?
I think they would just go with the 4th year and then look to see how he does in that 4th year before making a decision on that 5th-year option. Maybe an extension wouldn't be off the table at that point, but I don't know. Based on what he's done right now, I don't know how you could lock yourself into that 5th-year option. Maybe these next 11 games are completely different. Who knows? But as of this second, I don't see how you could sign him up for that 5th-year option.
Yeah, I was taking a look at I'm pretty sure I have to do a little bit more of a deeper dive, but I think you have to decide on the 5th-year option like this offseason. Like, I don't think you can say, I'm going to exercise the 5th-year option, halfway through next year, where it's like, okay, no, we are going to hold on to you. Nope, sorry. Mumtaz, thank you for the super chat. He says, many other 0-5 teams, I think. So first pick not guaranteed. Our history suggests we will get a surprising win to screw ourselves. We need a new coach, not a new quarterback. I would agree on that. I think the head coach is probably the bigger issue compared to the quarterback. Like, I think Sam, while it would be an uphill struggle to try and solve some of his footwork issues, some of his maybe some of his what would it be? I guess confidence issues. But I think that's fixable. You could get Jamar Chase. You could, if you're going all in with Sam Darnold, maybe you do find a way to bring Juju in here, and now you surround him with a ton of talent, and you use some of the other picks from the Jamal trade to really enforce, a good culture around Sam. There is zero chance that I am watching this team if Adam Gase is the head coach next year.
100%. Yeah, it's you can sell me on that. Like, I think that in his first year, Sam showed signs of improving with his mechanics with Jeremy Bates. So I don't think it's like super crazy if you get like a legitimate offensive guy in here. And like, I wouldn't even consider Jeremy Bates a legitimate offensive guy. But like, let's say for instance, like, I don't know, Roman, let's say, for example, like he is a legitimate offensive coordinator. And let's say he hires a legitimate offensive coordinator if he's the head coach. Then yeah, maybe we do see a completely different quarterback with Sam Darnold. Like, that's, to me, I'm not ready to give up on his talent yet. I do think he does have a lot of talent. He needs work. Like, his game is flawed right now, but I do think you can salvage it in a good circumstance. The Jets just have not put him in a good circumstance to succeed.
Yeah, there's no part. Well, the first play of the game was almost like, no, now you do it. Like, I always expect a run up the gut on the first play of the game from Adam Gase, and then he rolls Flacco out, and it feels like it's a play that like we're calling for him to make Sam not look as good. I don't know. It's hard for me to look at anything Adam Gase has done and think that he's, I guess, a brilliant offense. I don't know. There's nothing to Adam Gase for me.
No, absolutely not. There's nothing. Like, this was a typical Adam Gase game. Like, again, even if he got hit, quote unquote, his guy, as in Joe Flacco is like the perfect Gase quarterback, as he's going to stay in the pocket, not move, not take any chances, and they still got their doors blown off, and the offense still only scored 1 touchdown. Like, what? I'm really tired of the excuses with Adam Gase and the injuries, because this is just a constant thing every single year, and every single team around the league has injuries. Like, it's not just a Jets thing.
No, yeah, you look around the league and there's just guys dropping like flies everywhere, but the Jets seem to be the only team that's inept enough to not make adjustments or to find some way to utilize the talent on your team. The fact that we can't figure out how to get Le'Veon Bell going on a more consistent basis is nothing short of like incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. 100%.
I got nothing. I don't know why. We were supposed to have Green Bean here. Green Bean, our brother. Let's see how he's doing. See if he's in the group chat. I'd love to get his thoughts on some of this. He says he's in the lobby. I don't see him in here.
Want me to send them the link again?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing that now.
Yeah, see if it pops over there. What are you guys talking about in the chat? This age of NFL is trending towards running quarterbacks. I agree. That's why Lance is kind of a really interesting person to look at. And if you guys don't know him, I believe it's North Dakota State. I think he goes where Carson Wentz came out of, which I believe is North Dakota State. I could be off on that, but he is really exciting. He looks more like the quarterback for where the NFL is going. Like when you look at Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, this dual threat quarterback just seems so much more important than like a mobile quarterback, like Sam, where he's a mobile quarterback and can run around. It feels like you almost need like the sprinter that can throw the ball.
I think Sam can do enough running. I think he can be successful at that. Like he reminds me of like to me, I put him and Carson Wentz at the same level in terms of what they're able to do in an NFL game. Obviously, Carson Wentz has had much more success. Like, don't get that misconstrued.
Mm-hmm.
But I think both of those guys play a similar game in where they can get going on the move. And I think you can survive with guys like that in the league. Now, to be completely fair, like if Eli Manning came into the league now, I don't think he would be successful. Like just a legit pocket presence guy, pocket passer guy. I do think you need to have some mobility. I don't think you need specifically like a Deshaun Watson or a Kyler Murray. While I think you can be successful with those guys, I just think you need someone who can extend plays if need be. I don't know, but I'm with you on Trey Lance. I do really like Trey a lot.
I'm trying really hard not to. I've had a few people reach out to me, but I'm trying really hard not to like look at mock drafts yet. Or to like think about mock jet off seasons, but 5 weeks into the season, it's hard not to think about it. Is there anyone that you see in free agency that you think the Jets should go over and above to try and get?
Definitely a wide receiver. So whether it be Juju Smith-Schuster or Allen Robinson, I think one of those guys is a must. If you're getting to either one of those guys, you gotta get another wide receiver in here. Oh, look, it's
look at Green Bean's hair. You look like a mad scientist.
The loudest kid ever. Dudes, when did you start using StreamYard? I was over on your Zoom site waiting for the guy to start the damn thing.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm like,
I told you, I wanted to try this to see if we could populate the comment questions on the screen a little bit more.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I wish I could do it with like either Zoom or just Streamlabs that I normally use.
Yeah, StreamYard is the one that I use. It's pretty good. You can add videos relatively easy and stuff like that. And obviously the comics, that's pretty cool. So I'm sorry, man. I've been sitting here waiting for you guys. I wanted to jump in.
That's all right. No, dude, no worries. Joe S says Gase gets no excuses, but Sam gets all the excuses. I don't know. I mean, when I look at how Flacco played today, it looked like he was struggling to find anyone open. Where I kind of felt the same way with Sam. Now it just sort of almost validates it. Like I still feel like Gase is a problem, and I do think Sam's lack of finding open receivers is a problem. His happy feet is a problem. Like Sam's not without blame, but I think there's definitely more to hate on the Gase side of things.
100%.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't think Sam is beyond fault here, but the truth is that he does not have a quarterbacks coach. He does not have an offensive coordinator, and the guy who assumed all those roles is also the head coach of the team and doesn't talk to him on the sidelines. So what are we supposed to expect Sam Darnold to do? Make himself better? I mean, the kid's working all off season. He's trying. And then you look at the play calling. Dude, we're going to go back to this again. Yet again, he did it 3 times today. And finally, Frank Gore, the running back on a 3rd or 4th and 1, got the first down. But it's really easy for the defense to key in on our offense when they can predict the plays. They already know what we're going to run by our lineups, by our formations. So it's like, I don't think Sam Darnold is without fault or beyond critique. But come on, man. I mean, it doesn't matter who's in there. The plays are still just as dry and boring. I mean, our average pass play coming into this game was 3.8 yards. That's a low rushing average. And that's our passing attack. 3.8 yards a damn pass. So what do we expect here? That's what I would say.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, there's just zero excitement from this team. It feels like there's zero creativity on the offensive side of the ball. The defense can't stop anyone. I don't even know if it's worth – I don't know. For me, on the defensive side of things, I feel like edge rusher seems like the biggest issue because the quarterback's just back there buying time. Cornerbacks are just forced to cover for so long. I see some of the guys commenting in the chat. Chris Herndon. Man, if there is one disappointing player on this entire roster, he is probably the most disappointing one for me this year.
Yeah, he's looked awful. He's looked awful. That was an easy completion. That would have been a first down. The one that he dropped, he might have gotten the end zone there.
Yeah.
He might have even gotten the end zone, right, Matt?
What was that?
Yeah, and he's doing that every week, too. He's dropped more than one touchdown. This one today, I actually think he had a strong likelihood of getting in the end zone, but at minimum, like Matt just said, that was a first down. And those are drive killers, man. Those are momentum killers. The guy, I don't know what his deal is. My son, he's 12 years old, and he's like, oh my God, Herndon lacks focus and concentration. It's like, I mean, he's 12. You know what I mean? And like, that's what he's saying. Like, he lacks focus. He lacks concentration. And that's it. It's as simple as that. This guy should be catching a football that is thrown to his hands. He should be catching it. Why he's not? The guy's a bum. It's that simple. And then you put Wesco in the next play, and he gets finally Gase. It looks like it might have just been the align. We know what the alignment called for, but he puts Wesco in, and he gets a false start. And it's just like, yep, it's all over the place. It just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Anybody who throws in there does something wrong.
I see Submissions was just talking about it today, about Chase Claypool. I know Green Bean was real high on him. He was selected one pick after the Jets' original second-round pick. We traded back with Seattle. We were originally the 48th pick. He was picked 49th by the Steelers, and he seems to be going off. Now, this is everything we want Denzel Mims to be, and we just haven't even gotten Mims on the field yet. Are you guys excited to see Mims? Are you just kind of wet blanket on the season right now? Where do you guys kind of stand on this whole Jets offense?
I mean, what do you think, Matt?
I look forward to seeing Denzel Mims. I know right now, obviously, it looks bad because Chase Claypool is going off, but we haven't seen what Denzel Mims can do yet. And maybe even like we're not going to see it in year one from him. But I don't think it's fair to say after 5 games, into each of their careers, that it was a mistake to trade back and draft Denzel Mims, or that they should have just taken Claypool. We have no idea. Claypool can be really good. He can. Mims too. So I'm not ready to give up on that. And yes, I am excited to watch him play. Hopefully next week. That'd be awesome.
Green Bean, how you feel about Denzel Mims and Chase Claypool?
Yeah, I mean, every week that passes by, it's just looking more and more like what'll be a red shirt year for Mims. And I think it's unfortunate. Look, I think just like Matt just said, I'm still very excited to see Mims. Don't forget, he's a 6'3", 4'3", 840 wide receiver that already uses both of his feet beautifully and catches everything away from his body. He's literally everything you want in a number one wide receiver. So he didn't lose any of those things. But it does make you think, why was everybody passing on this guy? Because he was supposed to be a first-round pick. We all know that. That's what he was, like the 5th rated wide receiver in the draft, and he made it all the way to 59. So maybe there's something to that, and that would be disheartening. But I'm really excited to see him. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver. We all were very high on him coming out, but I think it's just unfortunate, man. I think at this point it's almost like, I mean, obviously, if he gets well, you want to see him. But I don't, just like Matt said, I don't think this year is even going to be what we, where we judge Denzel Mims. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still excited to see him. I still think he's going to be everything that we want him to be. It's just unfortunate that we haven't even really seen him practice. He has 4 practices total.
Something. Yeah, since the beginning of August.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think the scariest part for me was the report. Like,
no way to sugarcoat that.
Yeah, the issue for me partway through this past week was he can't even cut on that leg right now, and that seems concerning for me. I want to get excited. I don't want to like overreact with the whole Mims thing because I'm still really excited to see him. The old stereotypical transition for a wide receiver coming into the NFL was 3 years. Now that has changed drastically with the way offenses have kind of shifted. The rules have changed a little bit. I would like to believe we'd see a little bit more spark out of this offense once Mims comes in. I think Crowder right now is our only NFL caliber weapon aside from Le'Veon Bell, who we can't figure out how to use. And I think getting Mims back, I would love to see Perriman. Perriman, I mean, just watching Robbie Anderson in Carolina right now is just such a shot in the gut, knowing that like maybe we could have had him. Like, was there an offer ever put forward? Did we ever like really try to get him back? I don't know. The lack of weapons we've provided Sam is nothing short of upsetting to really say the least.
Yeah. Did you guys see that report from Mike? You know, Michael Irvin said that he talked to Robbie Anderson right when he was signing with Carolina, and he said that he was just above crying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he was
that
so
he
upset that he didn't stay in New York.
That the Jets offer was, in his words, disrespectful. So I wonder, you know, and that would be a mistake. You know, all three of us, if I remember correctly, wanted Robbie to be signed. Now, we weren't necessarily brokenhearted when we didn't and we got Perriman, but all three of us, if I remember correctly, you can correct me, we wanted Robbie back. And it's really unfortunate that we don't have him back. He's like, what, 5th in the league in yardage or something like that this year?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like he's been over 100 yards.
Has a total of, and Perriman has a hot 35 yards or something like that, and can't stay on the field, which is the knock on him in the first place. That was one of Robbie's number one attributes, was that he was never really injured. He had a couple little dings, week here, week there, but for the most part, he stayed on the field for that slight frame of his, which is what people knocked him for. He was able to stay on the field, you know, and it sucks. It really does.
TXI 3880 says, what's your predictions on the Jets wins this season? I'm going to, he's going with 2-14. Keep up the good work, guys. I'll be honest, if it's 2-14, I think it's because we beat Miami twice. I don't see the Jets winning. You know, actually, if they were for 2-14, it probably means we beat Miami one time, and then we had some weird win that came out of nowhere, like a team we shouldn't beat. Because right now, when I'm looking at the schedule, I don't think there's a game the Jets should be favored in at all. Your thoughts, Matt?
I'm gonna say 3-13. I think they beat Miami once. I think they beat Cleveland, and I think there'll be a random in there, maybe like Vegas.
Green Bean, what about you?
Well, today was a big day for me because I was still holding on to my 12-4 prediction, and now that can't come true. So, you know, today my dream finally deflated.
So you're an 11-5 kind of guy.
Yeah, I know, right? Technically speaking, I suppose I should be. But I think I actually am on the train that we have a very good shot of winning 0-1 game this year with what we're seeing. Like, it's not just like we're getting beat. Like we discussed at halftime, it's like there's no inspiration outside of the occasional spark. It's like nobody even cares. It really feels like that. And last week when they cared, we got 6 personal fouls. So it's like, you know, it's the pendulum swing. Either we're completely uninspired or we're breaking the rules and whatever. So I don't know, man. I think every week that we keep losing too, the team is getting less and less invested. Nobody's going to be willing to risk their own health for this team in the way, you know, in this incarnation. So I think that we're legit, man. We're legit 0-16, 1-15, 2-14 territory. I think 3-13 is a ceiling right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would say 3 wins feels like it's going to be hard to get to. This team plays completely uninspired. I think that you hit the nail on the head just now, saying the injuries and guys kind of going maybe playing through injuries, I think there's a real fear in the NFL of your career ending in one shot. So I think when teams are as bad as the Jets are right now, and there's really no hope in going to the playoffs, you're not having the season that you're going to have. You look for players that are on contract years that are trying to, maybe get that next contract. But aside from that, it's going to be a lot of guys in self-preservation mode. It's going to be, hey, I'm not going to throw my body the way I may have done, in a normal season. And then instead you're going to, almost see like Revis sort of laid down on certain plays. I think you're going to see a lot less effort as the season wears on. And I'll be honest, I think I could see 2 wins. I could see us beating Miami, and I could see us beating a team at the end of the season who's already locked up their playoff, like maybe the last game of the season against the Patriots. That's how this would end. It would be the Jets, has the number 1 overall pick. We're number 1 overall, and then we go into last week of the season against the Patriots.
Yeah,
and we're winning against their backups, and we don't get Trevor Lawrence, and it's all Belichick's like little scheme of like, I got you guys again. That's how I see it happening.
Right. Oh my God. Yep. I'll tell you, that would be Jetsy. That's the way this goes. I could totally see that. We're like battling with the Giants for the number 1 overall pick, and we beat the Patriots week 16, and we lose it. That sounds about right, because Gase will want to win his last game, similar to how Rex Ryan wanted to win his last game, and he did. Geno Smith had a perfect quarterback rating that day, a perfect game, and we lost out on pick position. So I could see it. That's not unrealistic, man. Sadly.
God, it's so frustrating. This whole damn team from start to finish. I want to have 1 year. Ever since I started this YouTube channel, we have stunk. And I mean, even if I started 10 years ago, we'd still stink. From 2011 to now, we've had one halfway decent season. I just want to have I want to be proud of my team. And it's very hard to be proud of your team at all over the last few years. Like when Sam was a rookie, that's the last time I felt like, okay, you know what, we're trending up. This is definitely Sam going toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers. Like that gives me hope. I see the writing on the wall. Like this could be a good thing. Then we sign Adam Gase, and I'm like, oh, God damn it,
dude! I know.
It's just such.
It was really over. It was, dude. First of all, when they said it, all of us were like, "What? Him? That's who we." I didn't believe the first report when it came down with Jets are hiring Adam Gase. I literally went, "Yeah." Could you imagine? That was my first response. Could you imagine? And then it happened, and then we saw that press conference. It was over. We knew the next 2-3 years at minimum were going to suck. We knew it. At that moment, look at this freak. Look at this guy. My wife said to me, I said, hey, look at my new coach. She looked at it for about 15 seconds and she said, I'm so sorry, Kyle. Like that was what she said because she knew right then. I was like, dude, she's like, I don't know what is wrong with your fucking team. I don't get it. Ugh, it's the worst.
Matt, any last words before we wrap up?
I really, I don't know. It's coming up with, there's not much you can say. What is left to say? Every week is the same damn thing. They're losing by double digits every week. I can't even come up with one positive spin zone going into next week for Miami. Maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick has one of his 3 interception games. I don't know. This is what we're at, Ryan and Green Bean. This really sucks. That's all I can say. This really sucks.
Green Bean, any thoughts before we close out here?
And I'm going to say something. I actually look to Matt O'Leary for hope. He's a constructive Jets fan. I just find him to be inspiring. He does. He gives me hope. Hearing that takes more wind out of my sails than the actual Jets just did. So I could not say anything better than what he said. There's nothing to look forward to. We don't even get to watch Becton. I watched Lamar Jackson. He did okay today. But they have Lamar Jackson, a practice squad kid, covering DeAndre Hopkins one-on-one. That's what we watched today. And it's what do you expect to happen there? So it's just, I don't know, man. I say let's ride the wave to 0-16 and let's have a blast. you know?
One positive thing for this whole 0-16, potentially number 1 overall pick, the Giants are currently beating Dallas 14-3 right now. So little glimmer of hope if you're a Jets fan. Just keep this tank rolling, and we'll kind of go from there. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the post game here. Hopefully we have some kind of takeaways. I don't know how I'm going to do a 5 takeaways video from this game. It's going to be so hard. We're grasping at straws this whole time.
I know.
But Green Beat and Matt, thanks so much for jumping on, and I will see you guys later.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Yeah, thanks for having me, Ryan. Good to see you guys again.